Hello, my name is Nathaniel. Welcome back to the SleepStory Collective. I am very glad you are here tonight. Wherever you have come from today, and whatever kind of day has followed you into this room, you do not need to explain any of it here. You do not need to arrive feeling calm. You do not need to arrive feeling ready. You do not need to have everything sorted before rest is allowed to begin. You are allowed to come exactly as you are. Tired, thoughtful, quiet, heavy, tender, or simply ready for the day to stop asking so much of you. At the SleepStory Collective, we keep things beautifully simple. We only have one mission: to help you unwind, let the day fall quiet, and ease gently into sleep. So tonight, let this be the part of the evening when nothing more is required from you. The room does not need you to perform. The bed does not need you to be impressive. The blanket does not ask whether you have earned its warmth. It simply offers it, softly, steadily, without condition. Let your body begin to notice what is already supporting it. The pillow beneath your head, the mattress beneath your back, the quiet around your shoulders, the cover resting over you. The simple fact that for now, you do not have to hold yourself up. You can let the surface beneath you take more of your weight, a little more, and then a little more. If your hands are clenched, you can let them loosen. If your jaw is tight, you can let the teeth rest apart. If your forehead has gathered the day into small lines, you can let it smooth. There is no need to force relaxation. That can become another task. And tonight is not for tasks. Tonight is for softening. Tonight is for allowing. Tonight is for coming back to the quiet place beneath all the noise. Take a slow breath in. Not a deep breath if that feels like effort. Just a simple breath. The kind the body knows how to take when it is given permission. And let it go. Slowly, quietly, as if you were placing a folded letter on a table and stepping away from it until morning. Again, if it feels comfortable, a breath in, soft and unforced, and a breath out, letting the day move a little farther away. Not gone, not erased, just farther, less close, less loud, less pressing. If thoughts are still moving, that is all right. Thoughts often keep walking for a while after the body has lain down. You do not need to chase after them. You do not need to gather each one and put it into order. You can let them pass like little boats on a dark river. Some may carry lists. Some may carry memories. Some may carry worries that feel unfinished. But you do not need to climb into any of them. You can stay on the bank. You can watch them drift. You can let the river take them slowly around the bend. Tonight's story will take us to the edge of an ancient wood. Not a frightening wood, not a place of danger. A gentle wood, a listening wood. A wood so old and settled that even the wind enters it quietly. At the border of that wood, where the last cottage gardens meet the first silver trees, there stands a small house made of warm stone and dark slate. The house has a round window, a mossy roof, a gate that never locks, and one lantern that is lit every evening before the first star appears. In that house lives a Dreamweaver. She is not grand. She does not stand in towers or speak in riddles. She does not summon storms or command the moon. Her magic is smaller than that, kinder than that, more useful than that. She gathers the loose threads left behind by long days. She smooths them. She warms them. She weaves them into dreams gentle enough for tired hearts to enter. Before we go to her, let the room around you become part of the story. Let your own bed become a safe inn at the edge of a quiet road. Let your blanket become a traveling cloak laid over you by careful hands. Let the darkness beyond your eyelids become not emptiness, but evening. A soft blue evening. A safe evening. An evening with lanterns waiting ahead. You do not have to listen closely. You do not have to remember names. You do not have to hold the shape of the story in your mind. You may drift, you may miss whole sections. You may hear only small things. A gate, a lantern, a loom, a bowl of water, a ribbon, a wooden comb, a bed beneath a sloped roof. That is enough. Sleep stories do not need to be followed like roads in daylight. They can be received like warmth. They can pass around you. They can do their quiet work while you let go. So now, imagine the day as a shawl you have been wearing for many hours. Perhaps it is still carrying the scent of places you have been, the weight of things you had to answer, the small marks of other people's moods, the dust of effort, the warmth of responsibility. And now, very gently, you take that shawl from your shoulders. You fold it once, then twice, then one more time. You place it over the back of a chair. It will remain there. Nothing important will be lost. Nothing that truly needs care will disappear. But you do not have to wear it into sleep. And now, when you are ready, let us step towards the edge of the wood. Tonight's story is called The Dreamweaver at the Edge of the Wood. The path begins at twilight. A lavender light lies across the fields, and the last gold of the sun rests gently on the tops of the hedgerows. The day has not vanished all at once. It has softened. It has thinned. It has become the kind of evening that makes even ordinary things look cared for. The lane is narrow and old. Its stones are worn smooth from generations of quiet walking. On either side, low walls hold back gardens full of rosemary, lavender, sleeping roses, and tall stems of foxglove that glow faintly in the dusk. There is no hurry on this lane. It does not belong to carts rushing to market. It belongs to people coming home, to bakers walking back before dawn, to seamstresses carrying folded linen, to gardeners with baskets of herbs, to old friends who walk slowly because the evening has given them permission to speak softly. Tonight, the lane is almost empty. A cat sits on a wall and watches the sky. A swallow makes its last curve over the rooftops. A kettle sings behind a cottage window. Farther on, a woman closes blue shutters without a sound. At the end of the village, beyond the final row of cottages, a single lantern has already been lit. It hangs beside a pale wooden gate. The gate stands at the entrance to a garden, and beyond that garden is the house of the Dreamweaver. The gate is made of ash wood. It is silver in the dusk. Its latch has been polished smooth by many hands, though no one ever needs to knock loudly here. People come rarely, and when they do, they come softly. They bring no urgent demands. They bring no dramatic trouble. They bring only the small, tired things that collect inside a person after too many wakeful nights. An old worry, a repeated thought, a sadness with no sharp edges, but enough weight to press the heart. A longing for rest that has become shy from being disappointed. The gate knows these things. It opens with the quietest sigh, as if to say, "Yes, come in, there is time." Inside the gate, the garden is neither formal nor wild. It is useful, tender, full of plants that know what evening is for. Lavender grows along the path. Rosemary leans against the wall. Lemon balm spreads beneath the window. Moonflowers climb a trellis beside the door, their pale petals beginning to open as the sky darkens. There is a pear tree in the center of the garden. Its branches are old and wide. From them hang small glass bells, each one blown by hand and tied with blue thread. When the wind moves, the bells make a sound so faint that it feels less like a chime and more like a thought deciding to rest. At the far end of the path stands the Dreamweaver's house. It is small but not cramped, simple but not plain. Its walls are warm stone, the color of bread crust and evening light. Its roof is dark slate with moss along the edges. A round window glows on the lower floor. A smaller square window glows under the eaves. Smoke rises in a thin line from the chimney and disappears into the blue. Beside the door is a bench. On the bench is a folded blanket for any traveler who needs to sit before entering. No one is hurried from that bench. No one is asked why they have come. Sometimes sitting outside the door is enough. Sometimes the thought of being welcomed is the first rest a person can receive. Inside the house, the Dreamweaver is preparing for night. Her name is Elowen. She moves through the warm room with a steadiness that comes from doing the same careful work for many years. She is kind in the way some people are kind without needing to announce it. It is there in how she places a cup down, how she closes a drawer, how she touches cloth before cutting it, how she listens before answering. Her hair is wrapped in a blue-grey scarf. Her sleeves are rolled to her wrists. Around her neck, on a thin cord, hangs a small silver thimble that once belonged to her grandmother. The thimble is dented. Its shine is soft. Elowen says useful things become more beautiful when they have been held often. Her workroom takes up most of the lower floor. There is a hearth on one side, a round window on the other, a wooden table in the center, and beside the window, facing the edge of the wood, stands the loom. It is not a grand loom. It has no jewels in its frame, no carved dragons, no shining crown. It is made of old beech wood, pale where hands have touched it most. The shuttle is smooth. The pedals are quiet. The frame has been repaired in 3 places with brass pins. Elowen likes these repairs. They remind her that useful things do not need to be flawless to continue offering comfort. Along one wall are shelves of shallow trays. Each tray holds thread, not ordinary thread, though it looks ordinary, until the room grows quiet. Then the colors begin to show their true nature. There is thread the color of rain on windows, thread the color of warm milk, thread the color of old letters kept in a drawer, thread the color of mist above a sleeping pond, thread the color of a candle seen from the end of a hallway, thread the color of forgiveness before it has found words, and thread so pale it can only be seen when laid across something darker. That one is called beneath the words. Elowen uses it rarely and always with great care. The other wall holds jars, dozens of them, some small as teacups, some tall and narrow, some round and cloudy. Each jar has a paper label tied with string. The jars do not hold spells. They hold pieces of ordinary comfort. A feather found beside the mill pond, a button from a favorite cardigan, a curl of sheep's wool caught on a fence, 3 grains of lavender salt, a scrap of ribbon from a parcel that arrived on a rainy Tuesday, a dried apple seed, a tiny brass key that opens no door anyone can see, a smooth pebble warmed in a child's pocket, a pressed leaf from a tree that grew beside an old school, a thread from a wedding shawl, a corner torn from a map showing only a bend in a river. Elowen believes dreams are strongest when made from things the heart already recognizes. She begins the evening as she always does. First, she opens the round window. The latch lifts without resistance. The window swings inward. Cool air enters the workroom, carrying the scent of moss, pear leaves, lavender, and the deep green quiet of the wood. Elowen places both hands on the sill and looks out. The edge of the wood stands just beyond the garden fence. The trees are tall, but not crowded. Their trunks are silver brown. Their leaves are dark on top and pale underneath, so that when the wind moves through them, the whole wood seems to turn over in its sleep. "Good evening," Elowen says. She says it to the trees, to the garden, to the village behind her, to the night arriving above the roof. The wood answers in its own way, a soft movement of leaves, a settling of branches, the faintest page-turning sound. Elowen nods because she has always found the wood polite. Next, she tends the fire. There is already a low red glow in the hearth. She adds 2 pieces of applewood and 1 twist of dried rosemary. The rosemary catches for a moment, giving the room a clean green scent. The applewood begins slowly. No sharp crackle, no sudden flare, only a steady deepening of warmth. Gold light moves across the stone floor. It reaches the legs of the loom. It touches the trays of thread. It lays itself gently over the armchair beside the hearth. The armchair is wide and soft. It is covered in faded green cloth. A cream wool blanket rests over one arm. Beside it is a small table with a clay cup, a beeswax candle, and a smooth wooden box for anything that needs to be put away before sleep. Sometimes visitors place letters in that box. Sometimes they place lists. Sometimes they place nothing but a hand over the lid, as if the box can understand what they are not ready to name. Tonight, you may imagine that chair is yours. You may sit in it without needing to speak. You may feel the blanket around your shoulders. You may watch Elowen work. Or you may close your eyes and only listen. After the fire, Elowen prepares the tea. Her kettle is small and blackened from many years of evening use. She fills it from a blue jug and sets it over the coals. Into a brown clay pot, she places chamomile, lemon balm, oat straw, and a small sprig of mint. She does not crush the herbs. She lets them open in their own time. The kettle warms. The room breathes. The loom waits. Outside, the first star appears above the pear tree. While the tea steeps, Elowen washes her hands. This is not because they are unclean. It is because every threshold needs a gesture. She pours warm water into a basin. She adds 1 drop of lavender oil. She washes her fingers slowly. Palm, wrist, knuckle, thumb. Then she dries her hands on a linen towel embroidered with 3 tiny moons. New moon, half moon, full moon. Beginning, middle, ending. Elowen likes things in 3s. They help the mind trust the path. Now she is ready for the loom. She sits on the low wooden bench and places her feet gently on the pedals. She does not begin at once. Beginning too quickly can tangle the first thread. Instead, she looks at the empty frame. She lets the silence gather. A dream, she knows, cannot be forced into being. It must be invited. It must be given a place to arrive. The first tray she chooses is labeled Evening Hush. The thread inside is pale blue, almost grey, and it shines only when the light catches it from the side. She lifts a length of it and lets it fall over her fingers. It is cool, soft, light as breath. She lays the first strand across the loom, then another, not tight, not loose, held just enough. A good dream begins like that, held just enough. Elowen believes the first layer of any dream should be simple. A safe room, a low lamp, a closed door, a window with the curtains drawn, a cup set down beside the bed, a chair waiting in the corner, a folded blanket, a quiet floor. These are not dramatic things, but the sleeping mind does not need drama. The sleeping mind needs proof of safety. Small proof, familiar proof, proof repeated until the body believes it. The shuttle moves, over, under, over, under. The loom gives a soft wooden sound, not loud enough to disturb, not patterned enough to demand attention, only steady, a sound the room has known for years. Elowen passes the shuttle from one hand to the other. The evening hush gathers across the frame. A faint blue surface begins to form, like twilight itself being folded into cloth. Next, she chooses thread called Being Cared For. It is warm ivory with the faintest gold running through it. She keeps it in a covered box because this thread absorbs whatever is near it. If it is placed near fear, it grows heavy. If it is placed near kindness, it becomes luminous. So Elowen stores it beside dried lavender, clean linen, and a little carved wooden bird that once sat in her grandmother's kitchen. Tonight, the thread is soft and ready. She adds it sparingly. One line across the lower edge, one line through the middle, one line near the top. Enough to change everything. As she weaves, the dream begins to hold a feeling. Not an image yet, only a feeling. The feeling of a lamp left on for you. The feeling of hearing someone move quietly in the next room. The feeling of a blanket placed across your feet when you had not asked. The feeling of being expected kindly. Not watched, not judged, not demanded from. Expected kindly. Elowen pauses to pour the tea. 1 cup for herself, 1 cup for the quiet of the room. She sets the second cup on the table beside the armchair. Steam rises from it in pale ribbons. Chamomile, lemon balm, oat straw, mint, warm clay. The scent settles around the room. You do not need to drink it. It is simply there, an offering, a sign that you have been included in the care of the evening. Outside, the last light drains from the garden. The moonflowers are open now. The glass bells in the pear tree catch the first moonlight. One of them moves, just enough to make a sound like a silver thread touching glass. Elowen looks up and smiles. "Thank you," she says. She thanks small things because small things do most of the comforting in this world. The third tray holds silver thread. This thread is gathered from moonlight that lies on still water. Not taken harshly, never stolen, only gathered from places where the moon leaves more than it needs. Elowen collects it from ponds at midsummer, from river bends in autumn, and from the shallow stone basin in her garden after the first frost. It is cool when first touched. Then it warms to the hand. She lays it through the weave in narrow lines. A little here, a little there. Silver for space. Silver for quiet. Silver to remind the mind that there is room around every thought. The dream begins to show itself. A path appears. Not a road that pulls you forward. A path that simply exists, calm and mossy beneath pale trees. Along it hang lanterns. Not many, just enough to mark the way. Their light is golden and low. At the far end there is no destination yet, only deeper quiet, only the promise that nothing frightening is waiting, only the sense that if you continue, you will be cared for. Elowen studies the pattern. She tilts her head. Then she reaches for a small drawer beneath the loom. Inside is a bundle of green thread tied with brown string. This is moss thread. It is not collected from moss itself, but from the feeling moss gives to a footstep. Softness, quiet, a kind of ancient patience. She weaves it beneath the path. The stones disappear slightly. The ground becomes gentler. The dream path is now the kind of path one could walk barefoot without fear. A little cottage appears in the weave. Elowen did not plan it. Dreams sometimes offer a shape of their own. The cottage is small, with a sloped roof and a smoking chimney. But it sits far back among the trees, more like a memory than a place to enter. Elowen leaves it there. She does not add detail. Too much detail too soon can keep the mind awake. A suggestion is enough. Warmth somewhere nearby. Shelter if needed. Nothing demanding. Now she reaches for the jars. She walks along the shelf slowly, reading the labels in the firelight. Feather from the river path. Blue button from Mara's winter coat. Ribbon from a parcel that arrived on a rainy Tuesday. 3 grains of lavender salt. Key to the room where silence is allowed. Pebble from a child's pocket, summer fair year. Corner of old map, river bend. Thread from a shawl worn during a long recovery. Elowen pauses at that one. She knows the feeling held in that thread. Recovery is often quiet work, slow work, work that continues after everyone else assumes the story is finished. She takes the jar down. Inside is a single, soft thread, the color of warm gray. She unwinds it from a paper card. It is not sad. It is not heavy. It is gentle with the knowledge of having meted time. She lays it across the loom and weaves it into the cloak of the figure now appearing on the path. The figure in the dream is wrapped in a soft cloak. The hood is low. The face is not clear. It does not need to be. This figure is anyone who has come to the edge of sleep carrying more than they realized. The cloak is made to remember warmth. With every step along the lantern path, it becomes lighter. Elowen adds a second thread from the jar. This one is nearly white. It holds the memory of clean sheets dried in spring wind. She weaves it into the bed that will appear later, though the dream does not know that yet. Then she returns the jar to the shelf. Every jar has its turn. No jar is emptied completely. Comfort should be shared, but never exhausted. The tea has cooled slightly. Elowen takes a small sip. Then she sits again at the loom. The shuttle moves, the petals press, the frame answers. The dream deepens. Outside the window, the wood has become blue-black, but not ominous, only asleep in a different way. The trees do not hide danger. They hold shade. They hold nests. They hold old rain. They hold the patient dark that helps roots grow. A fox passes along the garden fence. It steps lightly. Its red coat is dim in the moonlight. It looks once towards the round window, sees Elowen working, and continues on. The fox knows the house. All gentle creatures at the edge of the wood know it. Birds rest on the roof, hedgehogs pass beneath the gate, moths gather at the lantern. Even the old badger, who dislikes most company, has been known to sleep beneath the bench on rainy nights. Elowen likes that. A house that comforts people should also comfort small creatures. A house should not be kind in only one direction. She reaches for a wooden comb. It hangs beside the loom from a blue ribbon. The comb has wide teeth and a handle worn smooth by long use. She passes it gently through the loose edge of the weaving. Once, then again, then again. The threads settle. Any tiny snarls loosen. Any places that have gathered too tightly begin to breathe. This is called calming the edge. Elowen does it often. Dreams, like people, can become tight around their edges without noticing. As she combs the dream, the path in the weave becomes easier. The lanterns become softer. The cloaked figure's shoulders lower. A bowl appears beside the path. It is placed on a low stone bench beneath an ash tree. The bowl is filled with water. The water is perfectly still. It reflects the moon without trying to hold it. Elowen smiles. The resting bowl has arrived early tonight. That means the dream is for someone who has been carrying thoughts that repeat. She adds the bowl more carefully. A line of silver for the rim, a line of deep blue for the water, a line of pale white for the moon reflected inside it. Then she adds 3 leaves beside the bowl, 1 green, 1 gold, 1 brown. A leaf for what is still growing, a leaf for what is ripened, a leaf for what may gently fall away. The cloaked figure sits on the stone bench. They do not look into the bowl at once. There is no need to rush even reflection. First, they rest their hands in their lap. Then they breathe. Then they listen to the wood. The lantern above them sways once. The water remains still. When they finally look down, they do not see all their worries. They see only the moon, round, calm, untroubled by being reflected. Elowen weaves the silence around this image with particular care. Silence can be too empty if woven badly. It can feel cold. It can feel like absence. But good silence is not absence. Good silence is presence without pressure. A room that does not interrupt. A friend who sits nearby. A night that lets you be. Elwen adds warmth beneath the silence. A little hearth gold, a little candle ivory, a little moss green. Now the silence in the dream is not empty. It is full of safety. She rises to tend the fire again. The applewood has settled into coals. She turns one log with iron tongs. Sparks lift, but only a few. They fade before reaching the chimney. She adds a smaller piece of wood, this one from the pear tree that lost a branch in last winter's snow. The tree healed. The branch became firewood. Nothing wasted, nothing hurried. The room warms a little more. Then Elwen takes the cup from beside the armchair and replaces it with fresh tea. The first cup has cooled. She does not throw it away. She pours it into a small basin for the garden in the morning. Even cooled tea has use. Even unfinished warmth can feed something. She pours another cup, sets it down. Steam rises again, quietly, generously. The next part of the dream requires lantern thread. Lantern thread is kept in a narrow drawer with a brass handle. The drawer sticks slightly, and Elwen never pulls it sharply. She waits. She lifts. She eases it open. Inside, the thread lies wrapped around a spool of dark wood. It is gold, but not bright. It is the color of windows seen from a lane, the color of inns at the end of quiet roads, the color of kitchens after supper, the color of a lamp left burning because someone knows you may come home late. Elwen lays lantern thread along the dream path. One lantern behind the stone bench, one near a bend in the path, one beside a gate that has not yet appeared, one hanging from the branch of a low tree. Each lantern glows differently, one like honey, one like cream, one like autumn, one like the last ember of a friendly fire. Together, they do not make the dream bright. They make it dependable. Dependable is a word Elwen loves. It is not glamorous. It is not dramatic. But it is one of the kindest things anything can be. A dependable chair, a dependable kettle, a dependable path, a dependable voice, a dependable place to return to when the world has asked too much. The dream must feel dependable, re-listenable, familiar even the first time, a place the listener can enter without effort. So Elwen repeats the lanterns. Not exactly. That would be too mechanical. But gently. A lantern near water. A lantern near a gate. A lantern near a window. A lantern near a bed. Again and again, the dream says the same quiet thing. There is light enough. There is warmth enough. There is guidance enough. You do not need to make the way alone. The cloaked figure rises from the stone bench. They leave the bowl behind. The moon remains in it. Nothing has to be taken. Some comfort is received simply by being near it for a while. The figure walks onward. The path curves between trees that smell faintly of rain. Roots rise from the ground, but not to trip. They are old and rounded. Moss covers them. The figure steps easily. The cloak brushes fern tips. Small white flowers open at ankle height. Somewhere, hidden among leaves, an owl gives one low call. Then all is quiet again. Elowen adds a gate to the dream. It is made of carved wood, smaller than the gate outside her own garden. It stands between two hawthorn trees. No fence is attached to it. It does not keep anything out. It does not keep anything in. It is simply a threshold. Some gates exist only to help us feel the gentleness of passing from one state to another, from waking to rest, from holding to releasing, from the day into the deeper night. The cloaked figure places one hand on the latch. The gate opens inward. Beyond it, the path widens. The trees grow farther apart. The moonlight reaches the ground. And there, in a clearing, stands a low glass house. It is not large. It is not cold. Its panes are old and slightly uneven, so the moonlight enters in soft, wavering squares. Inside the glasshouse are beds of night-blooming flowers, rows of sleeping herbs, and a single chair with a woven seat. Elowen did not plan the glasshouse either, but she welcomes it. Dreams often know which rooms they need. She chooses green glass thread from a covered tray and strengthens the edges of the panes. Then she weaves condensation along the lower corners. She adds clay pots, a watering can, ve'in, a pair of gardening gloves folded neatly on a shelf, a small blue jug, a coil of twine. The glasshouse becomes not a magical palace, but a place where living things are tended. That is better. Tending is restful. Tending is patient. Tending does not demand a dramatic ending. Inside the dream, the cloaked figure enters the glasshouse. Warmth gathers around them. Not summer heat, just enough warmth to loosen the hands. The plants are sleeping, but not lifeless. Their leaves hang gently. Their roots drink in the dark. Some flowers remain closed until midnight. Some have already opened. One pale blossom turns slightly towards the figure, as if recognizing a tired visitor. There is a chair in the center of the glasshouse. The figure sits. Again, there is no task, no question, no lesson, only sitting. Elowen weaves the glasshouse air with breath thread. This thread is almost transparent. It widens whatever space it enters. She runs it along the roof, down the walls, around the chair, between the leaves. The dream fills with slow breathing. Not obvious, not instructed, just suggested. The plants breathe, the glasshouse breathes, the figure breathes. The listener may breathe too, if it comes naturally. In the workroom, Elowen's own breathing has slowed. Her shoulders are lower. The room is fully night now. The hearth glows, the tea steams, the loom shines softly in the dark. The 963 Hz ambience, if it were playing somewhere beneath this tale, might feel like the spaciousness around the threads, a high, gentle openness, a soft widening of the night, a sense of air above the roof and stars beyond the branches. Nothing to analyze, nothing to chase, only a quiet atmosphere beneath the words. Elowen takes up the nearly invisible thread called Beneath the Words. She does not use much, she never does. This thread is for feelings that cannot be tidied into sentences. The ache under tiredness, the softness under strength, the longing to be cared for without having to ask, the relief of being allowed to stop. She holds the thread in both hands for a moment, then she begins. The thread slips through the dream. It does not change the scene in any obvious way. The glass house remains a glass house. The chair remains a chair. The plants remain plants. But something underneath becomes more tender. The cloaked figure lowers their head, not from sadness, from relief. Their hands open in their lap. Their breathing deepens. The warmth of the glass house holds them. The night outside keeps watch. Elowen pauses. She knows this is the place where a dream can become too intense if handled carelessly. So she softens it. She adds ordinary things. A clay cup on the shelf, a folded cloth, a small broom beside the door, a pair of soft slippers, the scent of damp soil, the sound of one drop of water falling from leaf to leaf. Ordinary things bring the mind back to safety. Ordinary things say, this is only rest, this is only night. Nothing sharp is coming. The figure in the dream rises from the chair. They remove their cloak for a moment and fold it over the chair back. Beneath it, their clothing is simple and comfortable. Soft linen, warm wool, nothing tight, nothing formal, no armor, no costume, no role to perform. Just a person in a quiet glass house at the edge of a gentle wood. Elowen weaves this with care. The removal of the cloak is not a dramatic reveal, it is a small rest. A person setting down what has kept them warm, but has also carried the dust of the path. Outside the glass house, the path continues, but the dream does not hurry towards it. For a while, it simply remains among the plants. The moon moves slowly across the panes, the leaves shine, the air stays warm. A night flower opens, one petal, then another, then another. Elowen adds a pale pink thread to the flower, then softens it with gray so it does not become too bright. This is a sleep story, after all. Even beauty must lower its voice. After a long while, the dream figure leaves the glass house. They put the cloak back around their shoulders, but it feels lighter now. The path outside has become wider, the trees are fewer. Ahead, beyond a little rise, glows the sign of an inn. Elowen feels the inn before she sees it in the weave. Some dreams need an inn, a place where the traveling stops, a place where the final part of rest can begin. She reaches for inn thread. It is stored in a wooden box shaped like a small house. Inside are colors of hearth, linen, old floorboards, warm bread, and closed shutters. The inn appears slowly. A sloped roof, a low porch, a lantern by the door, a bench beneath the window, smoke rising from the chimney, a sign hanging from a bracket. On the sign is carved a sleeping bird with its wing tucked over its head. Elowyn smiles. "The sleeping bird," she whispers. "Yes, that is a good name for an inn at the edge of a dream." She does not fill the inn with people. A crowd would be too much. She places only one innkeeper in the background, kind and quiet, polishing a cup behind the counter. The innkeeper does not ask questions. They do not require conversation. They simply nod, as if the cloaked figure was expected. There is a room ready upstairs. There is warm water. There is bread if wanted. There is tea if wanted. There is silence if wanted. All options are gentle. None of them insist. The figure steps inside. The inn smells of beeswax, clean wood, and barley soup simmering low in the kitchen. A small fire burns in the hearth. 2 chairs face it. A cat sleeps on one. No one moves the cat. The other chair is empty. The floorboards are old and smooth. Behind the counter hangs a row of brass keys. Each key has a ribbon: blue, green, cream, gold, gray. The innkeeper chooses the cream ribbon. Room 7, the quiet room beneath the eaves. Elowyn weaves the key carefully. Keys are powerful in dreams, but not because they lock things away. The right key can give permission. Permission to enter. Permission to close a door. Permission to be private. Permission to stop explaining. She weaves the cream ribbon with the key, softly, loosely. Then she lets the dream figure take it. The stairs at the inn are narrow and warm. There is a runner down the middle, faded with use. On the landing is a little table with a bowl of dried lavender. A candle burns in a glass shade. The hallway is quiet. Not empty, quiet. There is a difference. Empty can feel abandoned. Quiet can feel held. This hallway is held. The floorboards do not creak loudly. The walls lean in gently. At the end is room 7. The figure unlocks the door. The room inside is small and perfect. A bed beneath a sloped ceiling, a washstand with a white basin, a jug of warm water, a chair beside the window, a folded nightdress of soft linen, a quilt in shades of blue, cream, and pale gold, a little table with a cup, a plate of sliced pear, and a note without words, only a pressed leaf. The window looks back towards the wood. The moon is visible above the trees. Elowyn takes extra time over the room. This is where the dream becomes a place to sleep, not only a place to wander. She weaves the bed with clean sheet thread, the pillow with lavender thread, the quilt with warmth kept from old kitchens, the window with moonlight gathered from water, the floor with the steady brown of dependable wood, the door with a brass latch that closes gently and stays closed. No one will enter without permission. No sound from below will startle. No demand will find its way under the door. The figure removes the cloak. This time, they hang it on a peg. They wash their hands in the warm water. They wash their face. They fold their outer clothes over the chair. They put on the soft linen nightdress. Every movement is slow, unwatched, allowed. The dream does not make the body hurry towards sleep. It simply prepares the room so sleep can come when it is ready. Elowyn adds the sound beneath the room, a low hush. the sound a safe house makes when all its rooms are settled. The sound of banked fires, closed shutters, sleeping walls, a kettle cooling in the kitchen, a cat dreaming on a chair, rain that may come later but has not yet arrived. The sound is almost not a sound. It is more like permission. The figure sits on the edge of the bed. They look once around the room, at the basin, at the pear slices, at the pressed leaf, at the moon through the window. Nothing is missing. Nothing is too much. The room has been made ready with care, and care is something the body can feel even before the mind has words for it. Then the figure lies down. The quilt is drawn up, the pillow receives the head, the bed supports the back. The room grows still. The lantern outside the inn window sways lightly. The sleeping bird on the sign below hangs quiet in the moonlight. The wood beyond the road keeps watch. The path is empty now. The glass house sleeps. The resting bowl reflects the moon. The gate stands open. Nothing needs to be undone. Nothing needs to be finished. The dream has arrived at rest. In her workroom, Eowyn stops weaving for a while. Her hands rest on the frame. She listens, not with her ears alone, with a part of herself that knows when a dream has gone deep enough. The danger now is doing too much. Too many colors could wake the mind. Too much wonder could ask it to look. Too much story could make it follow. So now she begins the art of taking away. She dims the lanterns in the weave, just a little. She softens the edges of the glass house. She lets the path behind the inn become mist. She turns the bowl of water into only a silver circle. She lowers the fire in the inn. She blurs the pressed leaf on the note. She lets the pear slices become simply something sweet nearby. She lets the room become less image and more feeling, warmth, privacy, cleanliness, shelter, sleep. This is the Dreamweaver's greatest skill, not adding more, making enough. Enough beauty, enough safety, enough guidance, enough softness, enough silence. She hums while she works. The tune is old, older than the village, older than her grandmother's thimble, older, perhaps, than the first gate built at the edge of the wood. It has only 5 notes. Each one falls lower than the last, not sadly, only downward, like steps into sleep, like rain moving down glass, like a hand smoothing hair away from a forehead. She hums once, then again, then once more, and with each repetition, the dream lowers. The figure in the inn is breathing slowly now. The bed holds, the quilt warms. The room has no sharp corners in the dark. The moon rests in a pale square on the floor. The key with the cream ribbon lies on the table. The door is closed, the latch is gentle, the night is kind. Eowyn ties off the lower edge of the dream. She does this with 3 knots, a knot for safety, a knot for softness, a knot for return. The knots are loose enough to breathe, but firm enough to hold. Then she takes her silver scissors from their case. They are small, their blades are bright. She trims the loose ends. Snip, rest. Snip, rest. Snip, rest. Each tiny sound is followed by a longer quiet. The trimmed ends fall into her palm. No thread is wasted here. Loose ends are saved for lighter dreams, afternoon dreams, cat dreams, the drowsy half-sleep that comes when rain begins and no one needs to go anywhere. She places the ends in a little pouch labeled Soft Fragments. Then she lifts the finished dream from the loom. It is almost weightless. It shimmers faintly, blue and silver and gold. Not bright, never bright, only luminous enough to find its way through the night. Now comes the carrying. Elowen wraps herself in a gray shawl. She takes the lantern from the hook beside the door. She tucks the finished dream over her arm. Then she steps outside. The garden is fully moonlit. The lavender is silver. The rosemary is black-green. The moonflowers shine like small, open hands. The pear tree stands in the center, glass bells sleeping in its branches. The air is cool enough to touch the cheeks gently. Behind the garden fence, the wood waits. Elowen does not go deep into the wood. She never needs to. Her work belongs to the edge. The edge is where things meet without becoming lost. Village and forest, lamp and moon, waking and dreaming, holding and release. At the edge, one can step slowly from one state into another. No shock, no fall, only a soft crossing. A narrow path runs behind her house. On one side are the trees, on the other are sleeping fields. Smooth stones line the path, each one shining faintly in the moonlight. Elowen walks slowly, the dream folded over her arm, the lantern in her hand, her steps barely sounding. A moth follows the lantern for a while. A hedgehog pauses beneath the hedge. An owl turns its head from a branch. No creature is startled. The night knows Elowen. At the end of the path stands an arch made from two old hawthorn trees. Their branches have grown towards each other for many years, forming a doorway of leaves, thorns, and white blossoms. The thorns are not threatening. They protect what is tender without reaching for anything. Beneath the arch is a flat stone. It is called the Sending Stone. Elowen places the dream upon it. Then she kneels. From her pocket, she takes the rose ribbon from the rainy Tuesday. It is the ribbon from the parcel that arrived when someone needed kindness and had not known how to ask. Tonight, that feeling belongs in the dream. Ordinary kindness, unexpected kindness, kindness arriving quietly in weather. She ties the ribbon around the folded dream. One loop, another loop, a soft bow, not tight. Only enough to hold the memory. Then Elowen waits. Waiting is part of the work. She does not push the dream into the air. She does not command it to go. She waits until the night is ready. The moon rests above the trees. The fields are still. The village is dark. The lantern flame leans once, then straightens. A breeze comes through the hawthorn arch. Not strong, not cold, just enough. The dream begins to unfold. First, one corner lifts, then another. The woven path loosens into light. The lanterns become golden specks. The resting bowl becomes a silver hush. The glasshouse becomes warm breath. The inn becomes shelter. The bed becomes permission. The cloak becomes comfort. The whole dream rises from the stone, soft as wool and light as mist. Then it moves through the arch, out of Elowen's hands, into the sleeping village. It drifts over the garden wall, past the pear tree, past the gate, past the row of cottages with dark windows and quiet roofs. It does not enter where it is not wanted. It never forces itself. It waits for small openings, a window left ajar, a curtain not fully closed, the space beneath a door, the small breath between one thought and the next. In one cottage, a woman who has spent the evening thinking about too many things turns onto her side, and her thoughts begin to loosen. In another, someone who has tried to be strong for too long feels the weight on her chest become a folded cloak instead of a stone. In another, a tired heart dreams of a warm inn at the edge of a wood, and a key with a cream ribbon, and a room where nothing more is asked. The dream does not explain itself. It simply offers, and each sleeper receives only what is needed. The dream moves farther, over the well, over the herb gardens, over the sleeping cat on the wall, over the old bridge beyond the village. It touches the river for a moment, and the river carries a silver line of it downstream. It touches the field where sheep sleep in a quiet cluster. It touches the roof of the mill. It touches the little schoolhouse where tomorrow's lessons are already written on a slate, though no child needs to think of them now. The dream passes over everything without waking anything. This is how Elowen knows it has been woven well. A good dream does not announce itself. It does not perform. It does not dazzle the mind. It simply makes the room feel a little safer, the blanket a little warmer, the breath a little slower, the darkness a little kinder. It turns sleep from something to chase into somewhere to be received. Elowen watches until the last thread disappears among the rooftops. The rose ribbon falls back to the sending stone. It is no longer rose-colored. It is pale now, almost silver. She lifts it and folds it carefully. Tomorrow, it will return to its jar with a new label. Ribbon used to tie a dream of shelter. She smiles at that. Then she stands. The night has grown colder. Her shawl feels good around her shoulders. The lantern burns low. It is time to close the house. She walks back along the moonlit path. The smooth stones guide her. The wood keeps her company without speaking. At the garden gate, one glass bell gives the faintest chime. Elowen pauses and looks up at the pear tree. Yes, she says, nearly done. Inside the house, the fire is low. The workroom feels larger now that the dream has gone. The loom stands empty. The trays of thread wait in the lamplight. The teacups are cool. The armchair beside the hearth remains wide and welcoming. For a moment, Eowyn sits in it. She lets herself rest before the final closing. This too is part of the work. Those who care for rest must also receive it. She draws the cream blanket around her shoulders and closes her eyes. She listens to the house, the low fire, the settling wood, the quiet shelves, the faint breathing of the open window. She thinks of the dream moving through the village. Then she lets that thought go. The dream knows where to travel. The night knows how to carry it. She does not need to supervise what has already been given. After a while, she stands and begins the final ritual, closing the house. She covers the loom with a linen cloth. She places the shuttle in its tray. She returns the silver scissors to their case. She corks each jar. She closes the drawer of lantern thread. She folds the towel by the basin. She empties the cooled tea into the blue jug for morning plants. She places tomorrow's basket by the door. Tomorrow's basket is where unfinished things may wait safely, not forgotten, not feared, simply waiting. In the basket are the threads she smoothed earlier, the feeling of having rushed, the word not said, the task left undone, the ache of trying hard, the thought that circled too many times. All of them are there. None of them are allowed to climb back into the night. Eowyn touches the basket once. "Morning," she says. And that is enough. She lowers the lamp. She banks the fire. She closes the round window halfway, not fully. She always leaves a little space for the wood to breathe into the room. Then she stands in the center of the workroom and looks around. Nothing is perfect. A thread lies on the floor. One jar is slightly crooked. A spoon rests beside the cup instead of on the saucer. Eowyn leaves these things. A house does not need to be flawless before sleep. Neither does a person. Enough is enough. She climbs the narrow stairs to a room beneath the roof. The stairs are wooden and worn in the middle. At the top is a small landing with a window looking over the garden. Moonlight lies across the floorboards. Her bedroom is simple: a bed with a blue and white quilt, a pillow filled with lavender and clean feathers, a shelf with 3 books, a candle in a dish, a small chest for folded shawls, a basin of water, a window facing the wood. Eowyn unwraps the scarf from her hair. She folds it over the chair. She removes the silver thimble from around her neck and places it on the bedside shelf. She washes her face. She changes into a soft nightgown. She opens the window a little, just enough to hear the leaves. Then she turns down the quilt. The bed receives her without question. For a while, she lies awake, not anxiously, not restlessly, only awake in the gentle way people sometimes are when the night is kind and there is no need to hurry. She listens. The house below is quiet. The fire is only embers now. The garden is still. The wood beyond the window moves once, like a sleeper turning over. Eowyn breathes in and out. In and out.
She thinks of the inn inside the dream, the bed beneath the sloped ceiling, the pressed leaf, the cream ribbon on the key, the sleeping bird sign. Then she lets even that fade. A Dreamweaver does not keep the dreams she sends. She trusts them to the night. And now, she trusts herself to it too. The moon moves slowly across her wall. The thimble on the shelf catches a small point of light. The quilt rises and falls with her breathing. Her hands rest open. Her face softens. The last thought of the day passes through her mind like a moth passing a window. Then it is gone, and Elowyn, the Dreamweaver at the edge of the wood, sleeps. Now the story begins to loosen. The workroom grows dim, the loom is covered, the fire is low. The jars are quiet on their shelves. The pear tree stands in the garden with glass bells in its branches. The gate rests closed but never locked. The lantern beside it burns only faintly now. The edge of the wood is still. The path behind the house is silver. The hawthorn arch holds the moonlight. The sending stone is empty, and the dream has gone where it was needed. You do not need to hold any of this now. You do not need to remember the order. You do not need to picture the house clearly. Let the details become soft. Let the loom become only rhythm. Let the thread become only warmth. Let the lanterns become only guidance. Let the inn become only shelter. Let the bed become only rest. Let the whole story become a blanket laid gently over the mind. There is nothing more to solve here, nothing more to prove, nothing more to prepare. The day has been folded, the threads have been smoothed, the knots have been warmed between patient hands. Tomorrow's basket is by the door, and nothing inside it needs you yet.
Your body can rest before sleep is perfect. Your mind can soften before it is silent. Your heart can be comforted before it knows exactly how to let go. There is no test. There is no race. There is no wrong way to be here. If you are still awake, let that be allowed. Let wakefulness become softer rather than something to fight. You can simply rest inside the sound of this voice, inside the quiet of the room, inside the warmth of your bed. Sleep may come like a dream through an open window, or it may arrive slowly, thread by thread. Either way, you are safe to soften. Somewhere at the edge of the wood, Elowyn's house is quiet. The garden is quiet. The village is quiet. The inn inside the dream is quiet. The glass house is breathing softly. The resting bowl holds the moon. The key with a cream ribbon lies on the little table. The sleeping bird sign moves once in the night air. Then all is still again. Let your shoulders be heavy. Let your arms be heavy. Let your hands be loose. Let your face be soft. Let your breath come and go without your help. The bed is beneath you. The night is around you. The story has brought you as far as it needs to. Now it can fade. Now you can drift. You can return here whenever you need rest, to the edge of the wood, to the house with a round window, to the pear tree with glass bells, to the loom, to the quiet hands, to the lantern path, to the glass house, to the inn where no one asks too much of you, to the room beneath the eaves where the bed is already turned down. If you would like to make sure this world is always close, subscribing to the SleepStory Collective keeps the door open for another gentle night whenever you need one. Thank you for spending this quiet time with me. Thank you for allowing the SleepStory Collective to be part of your evening. May the rest of your night be soft. May your thoughts loosen. May your body feel safe enough to sleep. May some small thread of this dream remain with you, warm and gentle, until morning. Good night. Sleep well and rest softly.